You smile and shake your head. You in a unfavorable state of mind and make it work. It doesn't work. You'll fuck it all up. You're going to be the cog in the wheel that needs to be replaced. Everything else is ready to go. Everything else is state of the art. But you're coming in there like an analog in something digital. And it doesn't plug in. So you have to upgrade. You have to allow yourself to get the hell out of the way. Refine yourself. Remove all emotion. Remove all psychological influence of what you're trying to make or what you're afraid of losing. And only focus on what price should be doing based on your model. And submit to that. And that is how you hold on to winning trades. And not get, I got out too soon. I should have did this, I should have. Because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know your model. And you're too emotional. You care too much about the open profits becoming less. I was up $3,000 in a trade, and it came back, and I just couldn't hold anymore. I got to get out at 1,800, and then it went 9,000. If I just would have held on to it, how do you fix that? I just talked about it. You have to know your model. What did you get into the trade for? Has it been changed? Did something underlyingly change in the market, in that trade setup, that causes you to abort it? If that has not happened, why the fuck are you closing it? Why are you closing it? How did I teach you how to navigate that? You're trying to learn how to be profitable. You want to learn how to make money. Okay, great. Are you feeling the tug of war inside? You feeling, I gotta get out. I gotta get out. Take something off. But I can't. I only have one. I have one account, one contract on ICT. Then close it and be content with the idea that you're closing it and you're going to monitor it the rest of the way and you're going to stay with it live. You're not going to look at it later on. You're going to look at it live and you're going to condition yourself just like that. And over time, you'll hold it a little bit more. You'll hold it a little bit longer in that uncomfortable point. Just like repetitions with weights. Just add another small plate. Just add another repetition. Just fight it going down into the negatives. Your growth and muscle growth is not in the actual curling up with the bicep. In the long curls or barbell curls. It's the slow controlled descent. It's the resistance of seeing things go back to normal. See, you want to run away and go back to normal working the fucking 9 to 5 with Carl. See, that's normal for you. Your mind says, go back to that. Go back to that. But you got to resist that shit. And when you do resist it, you're fucking going to grow. And it's going to come with growing pains. And don't think it's something that shouldn't be happening. It's normal. Expect it. Desire it. Want it because it's progress. Everybody else is going to be bitch slapping themselves and saying, I got to quit. I got to get out of this. It's too hard. This guy talks too much. Get the fuck out of here. Go down to romper room fucking mentorship. They'll teach all kinds of nonsense. But you have stepped into an area here where I'm not going to sugarcoat shit for you. I'm going to tell you exactly what it's going to be like. I've already warned you ahead of time. It's hard. It's going to fucking feel like you want to quit. But you stick your fucking heels in and you dig them in. And you just say, bring it, bitch. I'm not going anywhere. And experience will carry you wherever you want to go. But if you come in half-assed, let's see if it works. If that's the mindset, you come in with, you're the very person that's going to quit at the easiest time where just a little bit of adversity comes in. Oh, this is fake. Really? Look around, folks. Look around. It's undeniable. It fucking works. It works real good. It's real profitable. It makes real money. Not just in my hands. A lot of other people out there in different walks of life, different countries. It's just something that you can't use as a crutch to say, I can't do it, or it doesn't work. Because that whole excuse now has been removed. And it takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of discipline to stick to this. Because the outcome is emotional. If you make money, that's an emotional feeling. If you're not used to making $1,000 a month day, if you're not used to making $10,000 in a week, If you're not used to making 50 grand inside of 4 weeks, if you're not used to making $200,000 in 6 weeks, I can imagine it would be very emotional for you. And when you lose $1, that's $1 that you just bought more doubt with. But $1 spent in doubt has a whole fucking lot more influence than making $1,000 on a trade. You'll spend more time caring about the fact that you lost that $1 than making the $1,000 in real money. Don't believe me? Wait till it happens for you. Nobody blows their account when they make $1,000. When they have a model that says they're done, it's impossible for them to blow their account. But everybody that's trying to do something that they don't know very well, they go in, they anticipate the setup before it's really there, and they get in before it should really be executed. And you think that it's, oh, I did this, and now you care more about the improper execution, and you lost sight of where price should be going and how it should behave. And you close the trade because you can't handle the pressure, and you lose a little bit. That's that $1 spent purchasing accounts. And then what's going to do? That little bit you lost, that little that little prick on the thorn of that rose that you want to carry home. Drew some blood. Man, this pisses me off. I gotta fix this. We get in here and do this. Just gotta get it back real quick. And then do something else. Something stupid. Something so trivial. It's that. That's exactly what blows your fucking account because it starts this whole chain reaction. You gotta fix something that was not in a position that needs to be fixed. Nothing's broken. You just did something incorrectly. Stop. Reassess everything. Wait. How long is it going to take for you to be profitable? How long is it going to take for you to make money trading? I don't know how long it's going to take for you to fix that shit. Some of you right now might be smiling and shaking your head thinking, yeah, you just fucking pegged me right there. And the ones that aren't going to be surviving in this are the ones that are cringing and saying, talk about something else. Talk about something else. Because I've just landed right on your ass. And you don't see it as a problem. You think that you'll figure it out doing that same shit. What? But here's what you're going to figure out. You're going to figure out that you did it wrong. You're going to figure out that you're undisciplined. You're unteachable. And you're stubborn. And you're going to be fucking struggling forever until you fix that. It can be corrected. But you have to stop thinking like that. If a loss comes, accept it, okay? Is there something for me to trade right now? If there is, I have to trade with less leverage. Done. Simple. How hard is that? 2 losing trades in one session stops you. What's the session? Whatever it is. If it's in the same 24-hour period. From midnight New York to the close at 5 p.m. the next day in New York. That's your full thing. If you have 2 losing trades in that period, you fucking cannot, you are not given permission to take another fucking trade until midnight comes again. Pray tell how the fuck are you gonna blow your account? How you gonna do that? You think about this stuff every single time you failed your combine, or you lost your fucking account, or you blew your account. You think about it all the time. After it happens, you think, I could have been there if I just would have did this, if I just would have stopped. You're fucking right. So how long is it going to take for you to make money trading? How long is it going to take for you to learn how to be consistently profitable? How long is it going to take for you to learn that lesson? How many times have I taught it? How many times have I talked about it? How many times have I bitched and preached on it? And still, students get on Twitter and complain to me, this blew my account today. All of the trades that blew the account that day. That should never happen. That should never happen. So what's the problem here? Reckless abandonment. Absolutely zero money management. Zero. Zilch. It's fucking non-present. So what's the problem with that person? They're impulsive. They're reckless. They're undisciplined. And they have no appreciation for risk. And they have no risk model. So you can have a trade model. But what's your risk model? How do you assess risk? How do you manage risk? How do you navigate a trade? When you move your stop loss, how do you manage open profits if you feel the tug of war inside? I've been teaching all that stuff, folks. But it goes in one ear, out the other for some of you. And when you send tweets to me, tell me, yeah, I blew my account today. I lost control of myself. I did stupid stuff. Right. So, yes, that happened. I agree. You messed it up. But that's not your career. You got fired from your job as a trader with that account. You're never going to get another job. If you lost your job right now, whatever the fuck it is that you're doing, whatever that job is, if you can't stay doing it anyway, but you need it to eat. If you lost your job, you're going to say, fuck it, I'm not going to get another one. I'm not getting another job. Fuck that shit. I might lose that one too. I'm not going to do that. No, of course not. An asshole thinks like that. You're going to go out immediately, put resumes out there trying to find another job. What are you doing? You're submitting to the process. Do you know that you're going to have a fucking job at the end of the month? No. But you're sticking to it, aren't you? Why? Because you fucking have to do it that way, and that's the process. If they don't come knocking on your door, hey, Ryan, hey, you there? Listen, buddy, listen, I'm not bad news. You just got fucking canned. It's a sad situation. But I'm here to bring you good news. I'm here to give you another job. You ready? That's not how it works. But that's exactly the mindset you think that trading should be. Like, when everybody owes you something, everybody's going to bend their fucking ears over and say, here, give it to us. Come on, man. Park it up here. No. That's not how this works. It's war. And you will lose. And you will bleed. And you will feel regret. And you'll have all those things that you have to wrestle with. But when you go into this with the proper mindset that you condition yourself to be a fucking homicidal psychopath who has zero emotion, you're in here to take from everybody. Give nothing. But even the best of them, even John Wick himself gets hit by cars more times than it's realistic, but still, nonetheless, pretty cinematic entertainment. But you're going to get hurt sometimes. What's the process? You have to stick to it. You got to stick to it. You got to be able to see the end result. If you can't see it, you won't stick with it. Everything is temporary. Every little difficulty, every little thing that you think is a big mountain in your path right now, it's not. It's not. It's just time that you have to continuously do these things, and you'll see, oh yeah, I can see these things forming before they happen. I'm seeing it happen in the chart. It's real time. I'm watching. It's going to be there, and then boom, it does exactly what I was expecting to do. There's stages in this engagement that you have to submit to, and each one has its own unique characteristics that's going to make you feel much more empowered than you really are at that time, and overconfident. And that overconfidence is what rushes people into, I'm ready to do a funded account combine, pass it. I'm ready to get a funded account. I'm ready to put real money into an account and trade it. When you're not. That's all I'm doing when I say it's going to take you 2 years to get really good at this. Get good at it, meaning you can't be influenced. You know what you're looking for. You know exactly what you're looking for. You know how you're going to engage it. You're not going to be upset about it if you have a losing trade. You're going to maybe try one more, but with less risk going. And if you take a loss there, you're stopping. And you're going to go and do whatever you want to do the rest of the day. And you're not going to feel bad about it. You're not going to regret it. You're going to beat yourself up about it. But you lose one little opportunity, whether you take the trade or if you missed it, you're beating yourself up. You're bitching about it on social media. You're arguing with your spouse. You're kicking your dog. You come to work with an attitude because you gotta look at Carl's fucking mug, and you're sitting there thinking, if I just would have had a real account and did that trade that I was too afraid to even do with a demo account. What are you doing? You're feeding yourself toxic horseshit. That's what you're doing. Everything I tell you not to do in these long-winded fucking diatribes, I'm telling you, don't do those things. And who's doing it? You, Buster. And bitching about why you can't figure it out. I did all this stuff, folks. I did all these things to myself, and I literally caused the longest learning curve that could have been 1/4 of the time. Emotions, the real, the psychological effects on this stuff. It's real. I didn't hide it from you. I talk about it all the time. And Mr. Douglas in his book isn't going to scratch the surface of what you're really going to fucking feel and what you're going to want to do and how it's going to cause you to be reckless. Who cares if I blow this account? I'll just pay the $50 for a reset. Try that with a lot account. Try that with a real $50,000 account. Try that with a real $100,000 or $150,000 account. It doesn't work like that, folks. You have to treat it like it's just like that. If you don't, just wait around. You're submitting to a process, and the outcome is you blow it. It's just a matter of time. Or you could be one of the apps pupils here and listen to good advice, sound logic that works, that comes with real profits behind it with receipts. And not just my own, other people from different walks of life that finally submitted to it. And every time if you ask them or hear them in an interview, they always say what they were doing in the beginning that was many times what I've told all of you not to do. And they spend more time doing the things they shouldn't be doing and less time doing the things I told them to do. And they're paying for doubt. There's dollar losses, there's small little insignificant losses that you care more about because it's a little paper cut. Your mind's not ready to be a trader if you worry about that kind of stuff. You'll never have the wherewithal to be in a trading, know you're offside, kill it, regardless if you're a profit or loss, and reverse the other way. That will never happen for you if you're listening, if you care about every single losing trade. If you care about it, and you lose sleep over it, you beat yourself about it, there's no fucking way you're going to be able to trade like that. But you want to trade like that. You're skipping over all kinds of things that need to be learned, thinking that you're going to be the exception. You are not the exception. And you need to be reminded today that it's normal for you to learn just like this. It's optimal for you to learn just like this. There's no better place for your learning and development than how I'm putting you through it. This is exactly the best of the best. This is it. This is Top Gun level fucking shit. When you're done with me, you're a fucking ace fighter jet player. And if you're in there, you're able to do it. And every process will be ingrained in you. You're not going to stop thinking, what I should do? You're just going to do it. You've been trained to do it. This is what you're supposed to be thinking. This is what you're not focusing on. You don't look at the fucking profit and loss on your fucking screen when you're trading. That should not be on your fucking account. That should not be on your fucking screen. You should not be watching that. If you're watching that, you're watching the fluctuation of profit and loss, and you're feeling, oh, this is really good. If we could just go to 2,000, come on, go to 2,000. If you're fucking looking at that, you're not watching the fucking candles form. You're not watching delivery of price. You're watching the ticker of the up and down profit loss. That's it. That's all you're watching. And you don't make money looking at that. The only thing that does is causes you to be emotional and have the influence of psychological impact of that number changing up or down against you. Take it off your fucking chart. Trade your trade without that shit there. Then when you're done, guess what? That number's going to reflect what you did. Trust me, it's going to show you what the fuck you did. If you did everything right, well done. And if you didn't do it right, it's going to be there. And it's still not good for you to have it on your chart while you're in a trade. Now, I do that shit because people want to see it. They like that. But when you watch the video and you're just looking at that, and You didn't watch the price delivery of the candlesticks as I'm watching the chart and I'm managing my stop loss. If you're not doing that, you wasted your fucking time. Who gives a fuck what song I played? You wasted your time watching that. There's a right way to do this. And I'm teaching you in the long-winded discussions how not to waste your fucking time. And you can't say I'm doing it for ad revenue because I'm doing it here, demonetized. And I'm letting dozens of people out there take it, put it in their own fucking YouTube channel and monetize it. How much better do I have to make it plainer that I want to see you succeed? I'm not making any fucking money off of me talking to you. None. Not one fucking penny. You're not going to see anybody else out here doing that. They're too busy trying to fucking hop their bullshit. They need their money. They need that shit. I don't need it. You're learning how to do something as hard as it may seem right now. When you get this skill set, it's something that no one can take from you. Everything has a learning curve. And this is one of the steepest learning curves you'll ever put yourself through. And it's hard. It's a whole lot of uncertainty, things to worry about. Will you be able to do it? How long is it going to take? When am I going to be profitable? How do I know this and how do I know that? All those questions get answered by the process of going through everything that's been prescribed to you. And the unfortunate thing is, you're not willing to make the investment. Some of you. You're scared. Man, what if I put in all this time and it doesn't work for me? Put in a little bit more time. Because when you learn this and you look back and you think to yourself, man, I almost talked myself out of this. What the hell was I thinking? Look at this. Look what I'm able to do right now. I can walk out there on Monday and I can make myself $2,500 and not even over leverage and make it stop trading and I'm done. How many people do you know in your friends and family circle makes $2,500 in a week? Think about it. There's some people that don't make that in a month. You're learning how to do something as hard as it may seem right now. When you get this skill set, it's something that no one can take from you. Nobody can take it from you. And now, because you learn how to do it yourself, you'll get experience and you can share it with your children. And help them remove themselves from slavery. Because that's exactly what your job is. They've convinced you that that wage that you're going after in that 40-hour pay week, or if you're a manager and you're in salary, 50, 60, 70-hour work week, you're probably putting in. They've convinced you that that amount of money was worth prostituting your time for them. Really? You're willing to put yourself through that bullshit just to get bread on a plate? Be told when you can and can't. And you better show up on time or you're going to get written up and potentially lose your job. You're willing to put yourself through that. But not this. When this has a higher potential yielding income and a schedule that you can make whenever you want it to be. You can live wherever you want to live, drive wherever the fuck you want to drive, do whatever you want to do. And nobody's telling you otherwise. There's nothing better than this. Nothing. Not one thing out there better than this. That's exactly what professional traders do. They know exactly what the fuck they're looking for, when it's supposed to be there, and they're showing up on time. We have no experience in seeing how many times it presents itself in old data. That's the key. That's the very thing. That's your secret weapon that gives you the confidence to keep doing it and sticking to it. And it's the same thing you're going to apply to the chart that's forming live. Real time. You're expecting those same things to unfold. Candlestick by candlestick. Whatever time frame you're using. And because you've seen it so many times before, because you study a very specific model, your reticular activating system is been keyed up. That means you're seeing something that you have grown an affinity for. You want to see something in price action that you believe is your model. And because that's your model, everything else in the chart is filtered out. And the thing that you're looking for, as soon as it manifests itself in price, it's like illuminated. It's standing out like a spotlight. Boom! here I am, and you're on time. Let's get to work. That's dynamite. That's exactly what professional traders do. They know exactly what the fuck they're looking for, when it's supposed to be there, and they're showing up on time. To engage it. They manage it. They don't put on large risk. They don't do the max on 15 contracts because their funded account company says they can. How much can you, the trader, the professional trader, the CEO of you Incorporated Trading, how much can you take on as risk and not feel any emotion? But I can't get rich ICT doing that. Bullshit. That's bullshit. Because apparently you don't know what compound interest is, because you don't need a large rate of return to get rich. You need something that repeats over and over and over again. There has to be consistency, that cookie cutter approach that needs to be applied to your trading. That's your model. That's the thing. That's the edge. And then compound interest is a very small rate of return. Very, very small rate of return. Can compound over time. I ain't got time, I think. Really? You got the rest of your life to fucking slave for that job. You ain't bitching about that, are you? I gotta get out of this job. I gotta do something else. No, you're content there. You like the flavor of the bullshit they feed you. You love it. Because if you didn't love it, you'd be making changes, not doing it. And guess what? You're here doing that very thing. You're looking for a way out. So you stay in that cell that's unlocked willfully. I just kicked the door open again, reminding you all you have to do is step out here. There's a big world out here waiting for you. Huge, boundless opportunities. But you have blinders on, and you're holding them. You won't put them down. You're trying to talk yourself out of it because you're scared. You've been conditioned. You're all institutionalized. And it's scary to step out here and try to do something on your own. Yeah, you might lose money. But guess what? You're losing money every day when you go to work. You're paying taxes. And when you spend your money, that's not a write-off. You can't do anything with that. As a business owner, you do all kinds of things that the average person can't. As a business owner, I get paid to drive the vehicles that I own. I get paid to go on vacations and spend money living the high life. All those things are write-offs. Gas in my cars, even though eight cylinders, I don't care. That's a write-off. That lowers my taxable income. When I was in school, I wasn't taught that. They don't want you to know these types of things. They want you to have ignorance. And this industry is so competitive. They're going to tell you this is too complicated. It's fucking not complicated. I literally just did a tweet earlier today while listening to all of you. Very simple approach to doing one model. And when you understand that language, it's the silver bullet model, by the way, but in a text format that can fit in a small little segment of price, or not price, but of paper, like a business card. If you find a way to simply look for 1.5 to 2.5% each trading day, now, that's a lot for a new trader. But I'm talking to the folks that's been around the block for a while, and you know your model, you've been doing well. How many times have you ever sat down and thought, this is all I need to do and stop? Forget how far it can run. Forget all that. Forget doing buying and selling the same day. Forget all that. Strip it down to the brass tacks. And unfortunately, in competition, you're going to be using 2% risk. It's not a lot, but that 2%, it adds up quick. If you're taking low-hanging fruit, systematic targeting, boom, getting out. Boom, getting out. You can do it with one contract, and it becomes 2 contracts. Slow, but it gets you there. Now, think about it like this. $10,000 is the minimum requirement to get into the futures division, right? $10,000. Folks, we're just talking math right now, okay? It's just math. If you need to make 12.5% a week, what does that translate? What does that translate into? $1,250 end of week. That's your goal. Now take that $1,250 and divide that up over 5 trading days. What do you have to make each day? $250. Divide that in half on 2 sessions. What do you have to make? $125. But I see, I might not be able to have the margin to do one full contract of the S&P. You don't need to. You can trade currency futures, bond futures. See, you have to have an arsenal, a repertoire, a bond system that nobody can fucking touch. Oh yeah, baby. I have shit that fucking Iron Man would want to buy from me. Stark Enterprises ain't got shit on ICT. But strip it down to the chrome. What do you have to do? $125 the first week, each session, or $250 each day. Or if you're a swing trader, get 2 trades, aiming for $275 each. You break it down modularly, bite-sized pieces, and when you hit it, you stop. Everybody else is always full board. Push, 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 push. You got to be the master of the long game. Let them break themselves, and they will. Know what low-hanging fruit is and target that. Now, what does that mean? You probably hear multiple times, low-hanging fruit, low-hanging objectives and targets. If you're short, okay, what's the closest short-term low? If you're entering like a 5-minute chart, where's the nearest 15-minute low? Where's the hourly low? That's going to be the closest one if the market just keeps dropping. How far away is that? Now let's talk about this. This is a question I saw on Twitter, where on forex I have a rule. Like I like 30 pips as a view to swing or less. Generally, it's usually around 20 pips or so. In London, if you're going to create the high of the day or the low of the day, it's going to be a protraction, market protraction, where it goes the opposite direction we think the market's going to go for that particular day. It's usually 30 pips or less. And if it goes beyond 30 pips, it can go to 40, but once it goes over 40, chances are it's probably absolutely not going to be where I think it's going to go, and I have to flip and change my outlook and then look for something else. Maybe not then in the same session, maybe later in the day or something like that, like a New York session. And a question came up like, if you're saying that in terms of pips for forex, what would be the equivalent in index futures? And I don't really have a format like that, because currencies and the algorithm that runs those interbank levels, that's something very specific, and it's a little bit more difficult for me to nail down a specific number of handles. So the way we strip that down is I just simply look at the 5-minute and 15-minute highs, and wherever the buy side above that is, I'm looking for it to at least reach there if I'm bearish. Or if it has, say, taken out relative equal highs or a single high on a 5 or 15-minute chart, and we're now dropping already, and it's beginning the morning session, 8:30, or it's crossing over to 9:30, then I'm going to look for a fair value gap. If there's a fair value gap, then I know that the stop run already took place before the opening in New York. So all I'm going to do is look for a fair value gap, and then there it is. It started as early, but if I take that type of trade, regardless of which one I'm using for that given day, they're never going to be the same. You won't see both those instances. It can't be. It's either the relative equal highs if you're bearish, or the singular 15 or 5-minute high that has buy side above it if you're bearish. We're always anticipating that type of scenario where it runs up, knocks out that, scoops up that buy side to pair with shorts. And short is the smart money. They're going to look for what? A low. And the low-hanging fruit in that example would be the nearest 5-minute or 15-minute low. Now, if you happen to have a 15-minute or 5-minute low that's like maybe 5 handles or 6 handles below, I'm not going to consider that. I'm looking for something that has at least 10 handles or more before that's my first objective. Like, that's me. That's my personal. That's not my son's model. My son's model's, if he gets 5 handles, it's done. I'm a little bit more diverse, and I can look for a little bit more in the market than just simply that, clearly. So I'm looking for a low-hanging fruit objective would be 10 handles below where I got in at. So I'm measuring, okay, where my entry is. I'm already looking for where I'm going to try to get in at anyway. But if I secure the entry and I'm short, and everything I'm saying here is reversed or going wrong. So just listen to the logic, write it out on a piece of paper, and then reverse everything directionally, and you'll have the same thing without me saying it the other way. But if you're looking for low-hanging fruit objectives, you can do your entire career with just that. Where your entry is, and if you get 10 handles below your entry, that's your low-hanging fruit. Done. Now, if you're going to use what I taught as my son Caleb's model, I made that public. It's out there. I think it's in my 2022 mentorship. It's one of those videos later in the series or whatever. Then obviously you use that model, and that's that low-hanging fruit. You have a static 5 handles, 20 ticks, and you're done. That's it. You don't care what the rest of the day's going to be. And you start with that. And you start with low-hanging fruit objectives like that, and it's static. You're not trying to build a pyramid. You're not trying to turn day trades into position trades. Oh, so nobody wants that 1 kill. I'm going to look for a week. No. The path to consistency is doing things over and over and over again that are consistently resulting in yielding positive results. And the easiest way to build confidence in what you're doing is finding comfort and trust in knowing that enough is enough. 10 handles. 10 handles in the E-mini S&P. It's $500 per contract. So I don't know where you're from, but I don't mind if I got $500 a day. But if you spent a year back testing and tape reading, and you get a really good feel for what markets are doing and how they work from one liquidity to the next, look at the video I put up, One Setup for Life. I literally tell you how to go in there and use the previous session's liquidity. And for the folks that are asking me, can you teach the London session? Just look at the previous day's afternoon PM session. I don't know why you're making it hard, but that's what you do. That's all you do. Apply that in between the 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning. London kill zone. Whether it's forex or futures, it doesn't fucking matter. It's the same stuff. But you are all complicating something. I've made it very simple. Because you're bringing something that you think is a mountain issue, and it's not. It's insignificant. But because of your impatience, because of the lack of discipline and self-control over yourself, you're making it something bigger. And it's the perfect excuse to say, I don't know how to do it, and it's not working for me, it's not profitable because he's not teaching me this and that. I've already taught it. But you don't want to put the work into it, just like my own son didn't want to. And he saw how that worked. And today he had a taste of it for real. And he's drained. Yeah, this is what it's like. It's like fucking boot camp. 6 weeks. You go in there, fluffy, full of fucking ding-dongs and bonbons, and they whip your ass in the shit in 6 weeks. You're salty as shit. You want to go there and chew somebody's liver from their abdomen. Well, some people need to go through that to discover that they're their biggest adversary. They're their biggest problem. And most people will be quick to point the finger outside of themselves. Oh, that guy, that gal, that thing was not profitable because this and that. No, you just didn't do what was required. You have to step into that uncomfortable area of development. Just like weight training, dieting, anything worth having and maintaining is going to require effort. And you're trying to learn the highest form of financial education on the planet. Think about what you're expecting. You think that you're just going to roller skate into this shit with $500 on $100 account, and all of a sudden now you're fucking rich. This is not Instagram, okay? That's all bullshit over there. It's going to take you a lot more time. a lot more effort and a whole lot more money than you're willing to put into it. And now there's other avenues where these funding companies are making it available to you. That resource, while it's available, it might be worth it. I'm not saying you should. It might be worth it for you to do it. But you won't beat it unless you're disciplined. You won't beat it unless you're organized. You won't beat it. You won't beat that combine if you do not have the right mindset and have control over yourself and say, okay, this is all I'm doing. This is all I'm doing. So you think 10 handle runs, 20 handle runs when I'm doing them, like, man, I wish I could do that. You know what you should be doing? You should be saying, I want to be good at getting consistently 3 handles. Not even 5. Start there. If 5 is too much, start with 3. Once a day. And if you can do it, then start aiming for 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. That's 6 handles a day. In 10 days, you could whip the shit out of that combine if you did that with 1 contract. You don't need to use their high-end, this is how many contracts you can trade. You don't need it. 1 contract, you can replace what you earn at majority of what your present income is. Now, I know there's some of your 6-figure people that have careers and such, and God bless you for it. But the majority of folks in America don't make 6 figures. The majority of them only make $50,000 a year. It's sad. But you can make $50,000 easy as fuck. Even with that little $50,000 low run from the account. That's what I told Cameron. I said, think about like that $50,000. That's all you got. You can't get the $100,000. You can't get the $150,000. You got to make it work with the $50,000. If you don't trade more than 1 contract and you can replace your job's income, is that a failure? Because, man, that'd be awesome. Right. So why didn't you think about that when you were doing the other shit? Well, because you want. That's the problem. You want. Wanting is the problem. You need to slow the fuck down. You have to slow down. All of that and more is available to the people that understand themselves, the markets, and the timing aspect. All of you know in the United States at least, what took place yesterday in our country. 4th of July, it's a holiday. So the protocol is expectations low. Now, we moved a lot in the morning, uncharacteristically. That's fine. But what did we have in the afternoon? FOMC minutes. Now, typically, that's not a big mover, but it causes a little flurry of action. So, was today an easy day? Not if you're brand new. No, it's not. So if you felt overwhelmed, it's normal. It's absolutely normal. And you shouldn't be beating yourself up. If you lost money trying to do something today, learn from it, but don't beat yourself up. But it's easy to try to tell yourself, why bother? I'm going to fail. I'm never going to be able to do this. I lost money, blah, blah, blah. That was a guy I was talking to last week. I think it was last week. Or the weekend. He was saying, thanks for everything, ICT, but I lost too much money. I got to stop. Right away, I knew that the guy was trading before he should have. And I didn't want to, in Twitter, beat him up. But you know who you are. You rushed into that because you are probably overwhelmed in debt. You're probably overwhelmed with the pressures of the world and your personal life, and you need to make a change. Everybody has room to make change. But in this industry, you can't speed it up. Just because you need it, because you want it, isn't going to make it manifest itself. Okay? I am not a believer of manifest it and it's going to appear. No. Because if that happened, it would have happened for me. Because I was doing all that stuff in the beginning, and it never worked. And working very, very hard doing the wrong shit isn't going to make it happen either. You have to know what you're doing, and you have to know yourself intimately. That means all the ugly parts, the things that you never want to share with anybody else. That shit is the problem. And every one of us, every single one of us, have those flaws. those triggering mechanisms that cause us to lash out. In our personal relationships, we start fights and arguments. We don't realize it, but we're doing it. We're causing drama at work, online. If you go to bars or whatever, something happens in your brain before you got in that fist fight. You either got your ass kicked or beat the other guy, now you're in jail. You're driving down the road, somebody does something, you get out, you kick and stomp their car in, now you're getting fucking sued. All of us have frailties, character flaws. And nobody talks about the things that's going to wreck your ass in trading because it's not pleasant. Nobody wants to be reminded that we're all human, that we all have to wipe our ass. Yeah. That's the reality, folks. There's no sugarcoating in here. And if you don't have these realistic perspectives going into this, it's easy to fall into Instagram fanciful believing it's fairy tales and it's all going to happen for me magically. All I got to do is buy this guy's bullshit, sign up to his Discord, go into his horseshit. Nope. It's going to take a lot of effort. But I promise you, if you do what's required, it'll be a whole lot less time that you're fearful it will require. So you're thinking it's going to take 30 years. No. You're thinking it's going to take 6 years. I think it took them 6 years to figure this shit out. No, I had to figure myself out in those 6 years. I figured out everything I needed to know about the trading part in a little less than 3.5 years. But we'll call it 3.5. Just call it 3.5. It's just a tad underneath 3.5 years. I had everything in my head technically that needed to be applied for me to find everything I needed to find for setups, endless setups. But I wasn't satisfied. I wanted to supercharge it even more, and I was pursuing perfection, and I created a lot more performance anxiety issues in myself by trying to improve upon what you now know and what I'm sharing here. So it won't take you. When you get there, you arrive at your consistently profitable, comfortable zone where you don't need to do anything else. You don't need to tinker with it. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to watch anybody else's videos, mine included. You ain't got to watch anybody else's courses, books, none of that shit. You know exactly what you're doing tomorrow, the next day, 5 years from now, it's going to be the same show. Boring. You go in, you make your money, you stop, you go live your life. That's what real traders do. That's what real traders do. They are not in here all day long, chained to these fucking computers. They're not doing that. They're not doing that, folks. The people that make money, they go in, they get their shit, they get done, and they go live their life. How many of you are looking at trading like that? Chances are you're not. You want to trade the London session, then you want to trade the New York session, then you want to trade the PM session, and then I hope there's going to get moved to the Asian session because fuck it, I got time. No. But see, when you impulsively enter, what you're really doing, and this is the truth, folks, you're afraid that this thing that you're trying to do as a model is going to fail in your own hands. And you know that if it does, and you do everything that you think is correct, you're not going to stick with it, and you're going to start all over again chasing something else. And folks, I just nailed down 90% of you motherfuckers. You don't want to listen because you're afraid you're going to do it wrong. And then you're going to fault the model, you're going to fault the approach, and then you, because you're impulsive, you're going to go out there and chase Elliott waves. You're going to chase harmonic patterns, you're going to chase some other bullshit. Crazy, ain't it? How can I do this? Because I did the same stupid shit. I've done the same stuff, folks. You have to change your perspective. You have to be accountable to yourself. And you also have to give yourself the opportunity to do it right and have the fruits of it. Just like when you win and you have a series of good winning trades and it's still Tuesday. It's not an invitation because you have Wednesday and Thursday and Friday still to trade. Well, you know, I got to push my edge into a dull, blunt fucking edge. So many times I've seen students, and I've done this before, you go in there, you get a windfall victory at the end of the week, much larger than you normally would. You're like, man, I'm really good at this shit. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to impress my wife. She's finally going to realize it's in a video game. I'm going to tell her what I'm going to do here. Boop, boop, boop. And then there it is. You get back half of it, or a third of it, or worse, all of it more. And you go into the weekend with a loss. That is demoralizing. That sucks. That really sucks. Especially if you showed everybody online at the beginning of the week, here's what I made, and then they're like, progress report, where you at? MIA, baby, I ain't coming on. I got things to do. Radio silence. You're making it harder on yourself by doing that. So you have to weigh all these things out, and also provide no opportunity for them to be in the trading, so it becomes less of an impact adversely. Because it's really easy to talk yourself out of this, because it's hard. It's really, really hard. And what makes it hard is you are equating success and failure on a personal level. You're a fucking failure because you're a fucking failure. When I failed, it was my fault. When I succeeded, it was because I stopped thinking like a dumbass. Stopped doing dumb shit. Stopped inviting outward influences and me being impulsive. I had to wrestle that stuff. I had to subdue it, overcome it, and make no allowance or invitation for it. That's what I'm talking about. That's why it's going to take you longer. If you look at the logic of referring back to another trade, while you're in that trade, are you managing that trade? No. You're managing fear about another trade that you can't make more on or lose more on. So your mind's divided. So the way you avoid all that shit is not to give it any energy in your journal. You take every experience, positive or negative, profitable or negative, a loss, and you make it an instructive, positive installment in your development. When does your development stop? When you're dead. That 5 handles is plenty. And you can split it up and make your whole 25 handle career on multiple trades or one individual trade in the morning. That gets 5 handles, you're done for the whole day. That releases you from all of the expectations of being in front of these charts longer than it's necessary, which is good. You want to limit that. So if you get your trade on 5 handles when you're first starting out, turn the chart on. Look at everything afterwards in hindsight. Don't be lured into doing more because something moves real quick. You don't want to add to what's already been given to you, and that's your goal. Stop. That's what profitable trading is. Having a goal, a business model. Okay, we call it a trading model, but it's a business model. You Foot Locker don't go out there and say, you know what, we're doing so well selling shoes, we need to get into the fucking pizza business. Let's start selling pizzas and burritos. Because who wouldn't want a fucking Foot Locker burrito, right? That shit don't work, okay? You're not going to upset the model that works for them, okay? And vice versa. You have a model, you sit down, you've done all the work, you built yourself up, you're learning this, and now you settle in, you're going to look for 5 handles in the E-mini S&P or the NASDAQ, one or the other. I'm preferring ES, and I think you should do that too. If you want to go into NQ later on, we have one ability, that's fine. But when it moves fast, it can be wild, and it can hurt you. It's a little bit more chaotic, so just be mindful of that. Don't be afraid of it, but in the beginning, respect it, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can sting you. But you want to have that business model of knowing when are you going to stop. See, when I go to live streamers all the time, I'll ask them, I'll say, hey, look, I asked this of Trades by Ben, I asked it by Chords, I asked it by 2 other YouTubers, and they ignored me in there because I knew why. They don't want to talk to me because they think I'm in there. They try to be one of them. I'm not. I respect anybody that's doing a live stream. I would never go in there and try to be disruptive about anything like that because number one, it takes a lot of focus and it's a dick move, and 2, I can respect the fact that they're doing it because there isn't a lot of people that are willing to get out there and literally live stream. So that is ballsy, and anybody that does it, yeah, they got my respect. Even if they blow up all the time and blow their accounts and go to maximum loss multiple times in the same week, it's still respectful that they do it. I want to ask them questions like, hey, when do you stop? What draws the line in the sand and say, okay, I'm not trading anymore today, I've done enough. Either because of the loss or the win. Like, how do you get to the point of contentment where you no longer feel that it's needed for you to be in front of the charts? Have you even considered that in your development, in your building of your trading plan? Because it's easy to see, oh, it's early. I've already got my 10 handles for today. That's 2 days work. That's 2 days of work. What do you think? You're going to go in there again? Because that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to think, the market's on fire. You're going to push your edge until it's dull. And you lost what you made and more. Plus commissions. Don't you feel smart? Twitter can get you hurt when people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Your business model is only profitable when you follow it. Your trading plan is only profitable when you follow it. Your wife, your husband, your significant other, your children, your dependents, your best friends, your coworkers, your boss, ICT, we're not going to be there to help you press the button and manage it and tell you when to stop. That's personal responsibility. And all of that rests on your shoulders. And if you're not in tune with the things that will lure you into dumb shit, gambling, going in there one more time. You got a good day. You made $1,000. You didn't try to make $1,000. It just happened, fell right in the hands. Don't look at that as, oh, shit, I'm way better than I thought I was. Fuck, I've been thinking about this all this time, thinking I wasn't that great. Look how good I am. I'm going to have to do this 5 more times. Shit, that's $6,000. Who doesn't want a $6,000 day? And then all of a sudden, you're looking at your account, it's gone. I've done that. I've done it. I've done that. Okay, so you have to know when you're going to pull the plug. And we're going to talk about that real time in 2023. What changes the landscape, if you will, of the chart that says, you know what, it might move a little bit more, but I'm not interested anymore. I'm done. And that's going to piss people off. I'm like, well, why do you? And you'll see them, they'll come in afterwards. Oh, but look at this move here you didn't take. And I took this trade. Good for you. Well done. Good for you. I'm not going to shoot that down. But don't come at me because you found something that outside of what I'm willing to take a trade on. That doesn't mean shit. It just means that you found the setup and you engaged it. Well done. That's exactly what traders are supposed to do. Find an independent setup that they took on themselves. And they manage the risk. And if it's profitable, great. The point is, I'm teaching people that don't know what they're doing. How do you go into this and do it right? How do you avoid all the likely pitfalls and snares that always trip up the neophyte new startups? See, you don't even know what you're likely to fall a victim to because you're too new. You have no idea how you're going to hurt yourself because you've never done it before. You got to learn from somebody that's done those things to themselves and learn from them. Not, yeah, just learn how to trade unfunded. Let me show you how to do that. No way. No way. So, you don't want your trading to have remorse. You want to have removed any doubt that you can justify anything outside yourself as the reason why you lost. And whenever you head right now, trust me, the ones that have selective hearing, so I'm going to say it again real slow and painfully. Many of you, especially the ones that are beginning this, you're trying to do anything to get in and make money, but you're willing to ignore all sources of responsibility on yourself. But as a trader that is actively trying to pursue consistency and longevity, profitability, what you're trying to do while obtaining that as your goal, the way you get there is removing any excuse, any cause, any reason for you failing outside of your own model and your own experience. That's personal responsibility. And that's not taught in this industry. It's easy to be able to say, well, the markets are random. Well, they really shouldn't offer 15 contracts. If it really isn't good for us, they shouldn't really do that. There's always excuses. Like the ones that are not prepared to be responsible, to be sound stewards of the money that they have in their hands and the risk that they associate with it. I'm not going to use a stop loss because I have a point to prove. Well done. Maximum loss, Australia margin call. You proved the point. Everybody knew because everybody saw what we already knew. Might not be that grand enough scale of an embarrassment for you when you take your trade. It led you up to the charts. You're there. You got all the things figured out. And you impulsively predict and anticipate the setup forming, but you want to be ahead of it because you can't weather the impatience. It's agony. Oh man, what if it runs without me? I sat here all this time. I did all that charting. I already told people I was going to be buying long, and they're going to be asking me for proof. Where's the receipts? Where'd you go long at? Now you're going to have me do show them. Oh my goodness, I'm up here. I got to get. There you go. There you go. You did everything wrong. I don't care if your analysis was good. I don't care if your lipstick on your chart was correct. If your drawing liquidity was correct. All that. Everything you just shot at the shit with this entry. Because now your risk isn't appropriate. It's got to be larger now. You entered in the direction of the profit, which we don't do. When you have a model and you have all the proper motivation that led you up to the point where now you've made the decision, you went to sleep the previous day. You woke up with every expectation that you're going to go into this following the plan, following the model, following the rules. You're looking for this setup to form. And now you're here. You're in front of the charts. You're there. And you do what? You act impulsively. You see something that is not your model. Perfect example. I'll give you something. You've done the work. You've done the analysis. You've listened to me talk about what I think the market's going to likely draw to on a higher time frame. And you committed to the idea that that's probably what you're going to subscribe to. So you're only going to focus in that direction. And that's the proper mindset. Not that you should be handheld, but that's why I do it. So that way you can keep your premise, your bias, your narrative focused on that time frame draw. You won't be 100%. But now, because you're in front of the charts, subconsciously you're demanding that you're 100%. Is that practical? Is that realistic? Is that something that anyone could reasonably expect to have? Especially if they're new. No, of course not. But that motivation that carried you to that moment, where now you're in front of the charts, you're ready to do your model, you're ready to pull the trigger. All you have to do is wait for that fair value gap to form, because it's going to be moving up quickly, and it's going to create that little buy side of balance, sell side of efficiency, and it's going to form it in a place where it allows you to capture 12 to 15 handles. So that means your minimum criteria for the trade would be met. It's really there. But unfortunately, it's not there yet. And what happens is you start seeing price run. And in your mind, you're thinking, this is going to be one of those times where it's not going to create a fair value gap. And here I am. I did all the work. I got all this stuff drawn on my chart. I have all the lipstick. I have all the motivation. I'm here now. And I know what's going to happen, because Murphy's Law says that whatever can go wrong is going to go wrong, and it's going to run without me. And I'm not going to be able to accept that, because I've done all this preliminary analysis. I've done all this preliminary workup, listening to this guy, Jawbone. I'm all pumped up. I'm ready to go. And here it's running. It just took off 8 handles straight, one shot. It's running. Your mind's going to be tricked by that because you haven't watched price enough. That motivation to do the right things get replaced with impulsiveness, because the lack of experience, the lack of the doing of it, being there, not just simply watching price. That's the first stage. Is tape readings. It's the first stage. Then you got to deal with a demo and submit to the idea that the rules still have to be applied. But then with live fund trading, or the equivalent thereof, where you can lose something, your funded account, challenge account, your funded account, or your live account, you want to capture money. And the lack of experience that you have, and everybody has that lack in the beginning. And all of you, and I was not exempt from this, I wanted to get through that stage quickly. I wanted to leave it behind me in my rearview mirror. I wanted to be able to say, get out of there. See you later. I ain't never going back to that town again, which is ignorance, neophyte-ville, beginner. Like, you want to be able to leave the ranks of a newbie. When I'm encouraging you to live there for a little while, because that's going to teach you who you are. And it's going to show you the character flaws that you have, that you're pretending you don't have, that you've been hiding from yourself your entire life. However long you've been on a spinning rock, all of you have character flaws. I don't hide mine. I don't hide it. I tell you where they are. I tell you where my weaknesses are. Because when I was a younger man, I tried to pretend they didn't exist. And they were impediments to me. They held me back. They were the barriers that I hugged. I held on to them. I held on to like something wrapped in barbed wire. It's not comfortable, but you get used to that uncomfortable state and it becomes normal for you. Like, that's why abusive relationships go on. Spouses that, beat their wives because they're weak men. The women train themselves because they have children. They don't want to break that family up. They know what that man's doing to her. It's not right. But they allow it to go on because it becomes normal for them. And change is a little bit more scary because it begins to bring in more uncertainty. And as humans, we don't like uncertainty. But in this industry, you chose to be in one that is always uncertain. There's nothing 100%. All the things that I have, all the things that I share, my track record, when I pull it out and I point to something before it happens, look around. You've been walking with me now for almost 2 years now publicly. They already know the statistical probabilities are you're going to fail. You're going to fail. You want things to be easy for you. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting things to be easier. But you have to identify doing the things wrong repeatedly against the good sound logic of something that has worked in the past. Don't risk too much. Don't treat more than one contract. Because these funded accounts, I'm going to say this, and I don't need to have any more details to know this is what this is. They exist to fleece. They already know the statistical probabilities are you're going to fail. You're going to fail. Because you're going to be impulsive. You will not use so much risk management. You're going to treat more contracts, and that's Monday night. They dangle that carrot there. You can trade up to 15 contracts. They didn't say trade more than 15 contracts. They just said that you can. And he tried it. Not once. Not twice. Not 5 times. 6 times. Burn. 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 Over and over again. Thinking that was going to be the answer. Not realizing that threshold that is so small. Let's play devil's advocate for a moment, okay? And there's only trading public companies are listening to me, following me. Just hear me. I'm not spitting in your face or saying what you're doing isn't helping some, because some of my students are actually doing well. But this discussion here tonight is meant to just really place the emphasis on doing the right things. As you, as a trader, use these types of companies. Number one, the risk is too tight. And I know how to trade. When I was a 20-year-old, doing this stuff, me feel immortal. Arrogance, pride. You get older and you have a family and you lose family members. You lose children. That stuff weighs on you and your view about how you keep score in life changes. It's not about how much money you make and how much you have in the bank. And I want to be able to know that I've done as much as I can within the scope of my capabilities. Because I don't claim to know how to teach the best way. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. I've prayed all the time. Because I know what it feels like for me to live like this. 50 years old. And 1,000 thoughts in my head all the time. And when I was younger, it was all violent thoughts. You would look at me and think, wow, this boy's quiet. He's so pleasant. He's well-mannered. But I had homicidal thoughts in my head all the time. Because I didn't want to be where I was. I felt uncomfortable, claustrophobic, pressure, anxious, knowing that they were chemical imbalances. And how do you articulate that as a kid? You don't know how to. So you stay quiet. You say nothing. Too much emphasis placed on image. And I don't want any of you as my students to become good at this. Fall victim to that stuff. You can go into it with all the right mindset, like I did. All I care about is like $1,000 a month, and I'll retire at 40. And then when you taste real money, real fast, that stuff changes you real easy. And then when you make it known to people around you, your friends and your family, and they bring in their views about what it is that you should be doing, and how you should do this and do that, and they can't even make their bills. They can't even get their car fixed because they were making, and you're making what they earn in 4 months in a day. And they're going to tell you what you're supposed to be doing. And they get angry because you're not listening to them. How many times do you have to listen to that before you blow up in your face and tell them about themselves? That's what I did. And I wish I could go back in time and take it away. Because those words cut. Your family members, they love you. Your friends, they love you. But they're not going to love you doing better than them. That's a rare quality in a person. And some of you are going to experience that, unfortunately. So the best thing you can do is mind your own business. And don't let anybody else mind yours. Meaning, don't talk about what you make. Don't talk about what you're doing. Don't plan on sharing what you're planning on doing. The only thing you're doing is inviting people that are not doing it. I won't understand what you're doing. They don't have the capabilities to even pursue it, because if they did, they'd be doing it themselves. For that, as soon as you tell them you're trading, oh, you're going to lose your ass. That's a pipe dream. They just communicated their view of it, which they adopted from somebody else because they've never done it. All this is you show up, you put the work in, learn. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be fucking hard because you're wrestling yourself. But once you finally get past yourself and get out of your own fucking way, then you'll really start to learn. And you'll see that you need it much more harder than it needs to be. It's all basically psychological. You're afraid of losing money. You're afraid of being wrong. You're afraid of failing. You're afraid of your fucking spouse or your coworkers or your family members, your friends, to say, yeah, I told you it wasn't going to work. It's all a pipe dream. And some of you, deep down inside, listen, folks, listen. It's going to get so hard that you're going to actually create the environment for that to happen. So that way it's ending all the pain. That short little momentary embarrassment around your family and friends, your coworkers. Yeah, I lost my money. You're right. It's bullshit. Nobody's making money. It's all fraud. It's a scam. It's all horseshit. Because you don't want to endure. It's hard wrestling with that feeling of, what would they think of me if I fail? bad. Why are you even entertaining that shit? Listen, failure is a fucking choice. That's not a guarantee. Failure is a fucking choice. Setbacks, speed bumps, adversities, that's all part of this, like anything else. Anything worth doing is going to be fucking hard. It's going to cost money. It's going to cost time. It's going to cause you to have to put more effort into this than you ever think anything you've ever done. Weak people don't survive in this industry. Unorganized, undisciplined, irresponsible motherfuckers do not stay in this business. You have to be an adult that is an independent thinker that understands there's real risk in this shit. You could lose your ass. And when you have this skill set, you're going to feel exactly what I feel. And some of you that are weaker and younger, you're going to do the same shit I did when I was 20-something years old. I was the biggest prick there ever was. And you can hear sometimes, it's still in me. That young man still likes to raise his head up onto the line. But the old man in me, that's reminded Isaiah 6 to have now. But that humanity in me is still there. But you're going to feel what it feels like to know what you know. And nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can make you forget about it. They can't discount it. They can't say it doesn't work. How many people are going to doubt you? Listen, you start making $50,000 a month. How many people will it take for you to be convinced that what you're doing is bullshit? How many people will it take for you to be convinced that you making over 6 figures every 6 months consistently? How many people will it take for them to convince you that what you're doing is a waste of your time? How many people does it take you to do that? There ain't enough. There ain't enough. And you're going to understand you're bulletproof. It isn't who likes you, doesn't like you, who cares? Is it going to change how you sleep, where you sleep, how you eat, how you raise your children? No. What you do with your money is your fucking business. You don't owe anybody an explanation what you're going to do with your money. None. But they're all going to tell you what you should be doing with it. What you should be doing with it. So don't even invite them into the conversation. You got to keep those types of people, which is the public, the social media plans. They're all going to pretend they know something better, and they ain't bringing shit to the discussion. To let them influence anything in your development is stupid. I don't want you to feel tethered to me, or need to feel tethered. I read people commenting into me saying they're depressed, or they're anxious, or they're upset, and they're lonely, and they're going to miss me already. I don't want you to feel that way. I've given you enough right now. If I stop, you have plenty. If I have more, I'm going to share. I'm going to teach you very specific things. And once you understand them, that's where you take your attention. That's where you take your devotions. Each day, you study. And you make whatever you describe as excellence, whatever that destination is for you. It may be leaving your job and just matching what you make at your job. And that is excellence. Because now you're not relying on someone else to pay you, to feed you and your family, to tell you when you can and can't. That, to me, is excellence. And then you get to that point. You think to yourself, well, I've only had to do this much to get to this point. What happens when I now apply the new experience over 3 years now doing it? I'm going to apply a new measure of commitment to it. And I'm going to start broadening my efforts and doing a little bit more than I'm used to. Not overnight trying to make $1 million, but just slowly growing into your new self. Remember, before that ugly ass caterpillar turned into that butterfly, it had to die as a caterpillar. And it was very ceremonial. It wraps itself up in its silken web, cocoon itself, and then it dies as a caterpillar. It closes itself off the world. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Right now, you're all bookworms. You're caterpillars. You can't fly, but you want to. And you want to be beautiful in your sight and everyone else's sight. But you have to seclude yourself. Once you get the information, whatever that information is that you want to focus on and specialize in that I'm teaching you, it may not be day trading, it may be short-term trading. It may be crypto stuff. Even though I don't like it, it might be that's where you're going to be. You may be the next legend in that asset class. Learning from me, doing the things I'm teaching, you may become the most widely respected and looked up to individual in the industry. Who says that you aren't or couldn't be? You're the one that's going to stop it, and you're the one that's going to fuel that. But you have to be able to segregate yourself from the influence of social media and negativity and things that are really just a waste of time. A waste of time and energy and effort when you're devotional to studying, putting yourself in front of the charts, reading price action, whether it be live or in hindsight. You have to continuously make that investment, and it will yield limitless fruits. Even the smallest of experience, whether good or bad, in the proper learning environment, yields so much in the future that you can't understand or appreciate right now. The things I've learned, the painful lessons I've learned, many times come up in trade. Like, for instance, the trade I did yesterday. When I was in that trade, reaching for that 44.93 and 3/4, I wanted to see it trade up in the weekly, going to the downside. That's really what I was trying to reach for, but I knew everybody would see right away the 16th of June 2023's high for ES, and obviously above old high, that'd be liquidity, buy side liquidity. But while I was in that trade over 3 hours long or so, my mind reverted back to either painful experiences I've endured, because I've seen so much price action, so many different markets, so many different time frames, so many opportunities, so many stellar executions, just really phenomenal entries, and just managing the positions. I've seen many of that over 3 decades. But in between all that, there's a laced layer of failures, losing, blown accounts, depression, regret, all those things. And I remember all that stuff while I'm watching price action. And sometimes it can be a distraction. Sometimes it can be an encouragement, where I'll watch something in price action and it'll remind me of something I did before. And I don't go out thinking about, oh, remember that time I was trading copper and it did this? I don't physically go into that vault in my memory and say, let me dig that out. It's just when I see something in price action, it makes me remember that event, because it was impactful. It was either a win or it was a debilitating loss. And you're gonna have a whole memory bank of that. As you go forward in your career, you're gonna have that same thing happen. Being wealthy is insignificant. My wealth is knowing that I've had the privilege to be able to share this with you, and to impact many of your lives. And the things that you're doing, it's wonderful. I do feel like a proud father. I do. But I don't want to take any of the credit. I don't want any of the credit. He's picked me up like a pen, and I've submitted myself to him, and the things that you've learned came from him. That's the truth. That's it. Whether you choose to believe it or not, it matters not to me. If it was somewhere else I got the information from, promise you, I'd say I got it from there. I got it from that person. I learned it from there. I got this book over here. Came right from him. I've been ridiculed, trolled. I've given testimony, but I did more. And I'm probably interested in people with less truth shared it and tried to make a mockery of it. But what you don't realize is you're not mocking me. I'm sitting back waiting to see what happens to you. Because God will not be mocked. He will not be mocked. And I'm not the forex God. I'm not the hatred God. I'm not a demigod. There is no demigod. Here's all you people talk the way you talk is horrifying. Take the last piece. So yeah, there's a still quiet voice. And yes, I heard it. And it's spoke to me a lot in my life. I want to make myself available so I can hear it more often. Because I have a tendency to be chemically imbalanced. As I have a tendency to go on tilt. Social media provides an avenue and a stage for that to happen. So I have dialed back that opportunity. In November, I'm removing it entirely. There's an event that some Christians, not all Christians, some don't believe it. And I believe the ones that don't believe it don't know their scripture. But there's an event called a harpazo. You're not going to see it in your Bible. But in the Greek, it's there in the original language. The whole idea of escape is taught in the Old Testament. And Jesus said, pray always that you're counted worthy to escape these things coming upon the earth. Every day I pray for all of you. I pray for you to be able to have a means to take care of yourself and your family and your loved ones. I pray that God multiplies what He used to give to you. And never look at it as me. That's why I'm putting down the name of ICT. I'm not carrying it forward. My videos will stay up. My Twitter account will stay up. But I'm not promoting this image of interim trader after November. I don't want to take away your passion or your drive. But I do want to be a voice of reason. You are not ready. You're not. So when I talk to you, and I try to give you these discussions, it's meant for you to take them under advisement. So that way you use the proper mindset. Because without the proper mindset, it doesn't matter what my tools are suggesting in the charts. You'll do something incorrect with it. And you may not have the discipline or the maturity to identify as your personal weakness and not that these concepts are failing. In the beginning, it's going to be easy for you when you don't do something right. Oh, it's this that happened to me. It's that happened to me. It's because he didn't give me a clear idea how to use this. Well, that's true. He should not have been taking any trades of it. You have to be completely 100% responsible. That's what a trader that's consistently profitable is. They own everything they do, the bad and the good. And they're not influenced by anything outside of them, whether it be in influencer online, another trader, somebody out there that seems to be doing better than you. And you'll develop these little mental challenges that you can be right more than someone else. And then your trading becomes a pursuit of, again, what? Being right. When being right is not what we're trying to do. It's a derivative of doing the right things, but our reasoning or the catalyst for us getting in the trade is not on the basis of being able to say, I'm right. I'll say that again so that way you understand what I'm referring to, because it's easy to hear it and go one ear after the other. When we start trading, even a demo, more so when you're trading with live funds, you are pursuing the pleasure, the stimuli that comes with being right. That feel-good hormone that gets released. It reminds you that if this was real, you made that much money. And you don't want to go into your development with that mindset, because you're pursuing the end result being on the basis of you being right. If your focus is always about being right and not the process, what are you really doing? You're teaching yourself to adhere to something on the basis of win or fail. And now you've elevated the outcome to a level of critical. It's critical for you to be right, because you won't be prepared mentally to accept the fact that that one didn't work. And every single time I blew an account, it started right then, right at that moment, where I had a trade idea, I put the trade on, it looked good, and then ultimately ran against it on my stuff. Okay, when I first was learning, it felt like the weight of the world was coming down on me. It felt like I am afraid to take the next trade because that one didn't work out for me. And the number one reason why you're fearing to take the next trade after a losing trade is because you're wrestling with the impulsiveness to want to trade with a larger size, and your consciousness telling you, don't do it. And you need to listen to it. Don't. In fact, it's better for you, if you're new, to just completely stop for the day. Give yourself time to process that incorrect trade result. So that way you can desensitize yourself from the percent of being right. Because if you're trying to do your trades with the goal in mind that I'm going to be right, it's going to go to my target, it's going to go where I said it was going to go, versus I'm trading this model, I'm trading with this approach, and I'm submitting myself to this very thing here. Nothing else. I'm not bringing anything else into it. I'm not letting anyone else influence my following of this logic. Come hell or high water, whatever the results are, I'm going to log it, and then I'm going to follow that model again when it forms it again, whether it be later today or another day. The way you condition yourself to grow as a trader, when you get to that first threshold, you close the trade. Wait a minute. Your target's somewhere beyond that. You just told me to get out where the first partial was. Yeah, if you have not found consistency yet, that's what I teach my students to do. And then you do that each time using lower time frame charts, because you're going to get lots of setups. That way you can do it a lot over the course of 1 month. If you're trying to do those types of trades with a 4-hour chart, it's going to take a long time. And I ain't got that kind of patience. You might think I have the patience of a saint, but I don't. You don't either when you start messing around with it. So you graduate. And when you get to the point where you can hold on to that first idea with one contract to the first partial, and then you can get 2 contracts or 2 lots as a forex trader. Then you take one off at your first partial, and then you reach for the next partial. Then you close it there too. It's still not get to your target. What is it teaching you? You don't have to be ready. What is it teaching you? To pay yourself. What is it teaching you? Hold it for 2 stages of liquidity. Now when you can trade in 3 contracts, you take one off at one partial, second off at the second partial, and you roll your stop to a point in which you're comfortable if you get stopped out. What is that? It might be break even. Others, it might be $200. It might be some specific dollar amount. Whatever that is, whatever that minimum expectation, if you get knocked out of the trade, you don't care. It's not going to hurt your feelings. You're not going to beat yourself up about it. But can you understand how many people listen to me all around the world? There's lots of you. You're all coming from different walks of life, different income, different careers. Some of you had very stressful lives. Some of you just got out of fucking prison. You think about it. There's different walks of life all around in this community. And I don't have a specific recipe for telling you how much to take off at partials. But in the beginning, it is. It's start with 1. When you get to your first target of where a partial would be, you get out. And you keep doing it, and it feels good. Because then you get to see, does it really go to my target? And then when you journal that, it gives you experience. So now apply that to doing these big runners. That's all you're doing. But see, what you're trying to do is you're skipping over a lot of necessary, conditioning. One of the things that you're going to hear me say a lot in the videos, the boring parts that most people don't like to hear, is that you have to understand yourself, know yourself, and, or as it's said in many ways, it's know thyself. And unfortunately, that's an endeavor that most of us don't want to do, but that's a very critical part of finding consistency. It's very hard for young men to encounter this, and they resist it. They want to hold the opportunity to blame someone else or something else as the outward interference to them succeeding, not them just simply not knowing what's required or expected. And there's no shortcuts, and I don't sugarcoat it at all. And unfortunately, it turns off a lot of people because they want it right now, real quick and short to the point. And they discover chasing other approaches or shorter methods that promise profitability. They can't do it. They might have flash in the pan hit wonders here and there, but that's not consistency. My aim as a mentor is to teach you how to find your consistency, not mimic mine or try to keep up with other people on social media, but you're trying to find your own lane and stay in it. So the way you do that is understanding and determining very painfully for most people what your personal weaknesses are. And that's an ugly area in everyone's life that we want to try to pretend doesn't exist. Because every one of us have a weakness. And every single one of us has a frailty, something that brings a reason for ruin. And I mentioned in, I don't know if it was 2 spaces ago, where I covered, for young men, if their personal relationships are always plagued with drama and such, your trading's going to be very bad because you're not being responsible in your relationship, and you're going to bring those same character flaws into a method of making money that requires discipline. You have to be like a machine. You have to be so objective about what it is you're doing and understanding where you will mess up, what makes it or what invites recklessness in you. And as a young man, I didn't want to identify on any of those things initially, when I had many reasons to have that. Failed marriage, troubled upbringing, parents didn't want have anything to do with me. And I used all those things as a chip on my shoulder. And I wanted to have an instant gratification in the marketplace to replace that pain. And it doesn't work that way. And unfortunately, a lot of the sugar-coated shit that you see in this industry kind of caters to that. Hey, buy my course, buy my shit. I'll teach you how to trade in 2 months or 3 months, and you'll be able to make a lot of money and be part of the 1% crowd. And you find that that's not true because they themselves haven't even mastered themselves. The teachers, the educators, but they put this mask on and hide it. I don't ever wear a mask like that. I literally come out here, and every time I talk to you, I'm talking from real world experience. those types of things and figure out what it is that's going to cause you ruin, what is going to derail you. And before you can ever find winning consistency in your trades, you have to identify those character flaws. Many of you might be using alcohol. Many of you might be doing drugs, recreational or whatever you want to call it. That's going to have an impediment in your ability to be consistent because you're changing the state of your focus, your lucidness. You're not going to be at optimal levels if you're doing things like that. And if you do drink excessively, you should not be in front of your computers. You shouldn't be doing anything like that. And you shouldn't be inviting, I didn't say it clear because I don't think I said it clear enough. You should not be inviting substance abuse into your trading. And I have students that have wrestled with that and they tried to ignore it and they hid it from me when they were telling me they were having problems with finding consistency and saying, I can see it after the fact, but it frustrates me. I can't do it then. And come to find out they have been wrestling with alcoholism. And you can't ignore it. Like, that's a big elephant in the room. And maybe that doesn't fit you or your problem. And all of us have a problem. All of us have a kink in our armor that it may not be a big deal to anyone on the outside, but for us that have to deal with it, it's like a rock in your shoe. You can't run the fastest. You can't stand on good footing because it hurts. It's painful. And it's a distraction from whatever you're doing. So if that's an endeavor that you're fearful of, you need to get over that. Find out what it is that is a problem for you. It may be codependency. You may need to be with someone for companionship. And if you don't have it, it makes you lonely. It makes you feel anxious. And it's going to do what? It's going to cause you to do things in the marketplace to replace that. Replacing those negative experiences, that fearful stuff. And unfortunately, there's not enough said about this in the trading space because, again, like I said many times before, it forces the viewer or reader, if it's a book, to take a personal assessment on themselves. And they're not going to like what they find. When you take personal inventory and you have to do an evaluation on yourself, where am I a problem? Where do I keep making problems for myself? Where do I invite drama? Where do I cause recklessness in decision making? Where am I impulsive? That type of thing. For the ladies, and I'm not trying to just beat up on the guys here, I know my wife is an impulsive buyer. Like if I give her a credit card and she goes out to the store with a list of things, I say, okay, go get this. Don't get anything else. Okay. Well, you know what that means. I'm not getting everything on the list because she's seen something else that she wants to get, and it's better for us to have that. And then 20 other things. Oh, I saw this thing. Look at this. It's just 40% off. Yeah, I could have saved the other 60% if you didn't buy that. Okay, that's a better deal. That's the better savings. Okay, but women generally tend to be impulsive as a spender, and that might be a problem, not for many, but it may be a problem for female traders that become impulsive about doing something beyond what they took out of the marketplace. And what I mean by that, I have women that I've trained, and a few of them, Grazi, shout out to you. She's in our private mentorship, and I hate saying that. I wish I could have just paused myself there because when I do this, it seems I got a tweet the other day. You're teasing us about your private mentorship, and then you say nobody can join. But I'm trying to wind that down. I don't do videos for them, and I'm actually doing all my teachings publicly now. So they're in this group with you, learning. So, but Grazi, she's in our forum, and she's just a dynamo. Like, I'm very proud of her. And what I'm about to say is not directed to her. And to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't even know if it was a case for her or not. I just know that she does very well, and she makes it public in our forum. She's too. So she's an Aussie, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to the blokes down there that you got one from your homeland that's killing it in my mentorship, and she's a lady. But I have other ladies in my mentorship that get upset that they find a trade, they get something out of it, they profit, and then they beat themselves up by getting out too early because they second guessed it, and they become impulsive about going right back in one more time, and then being scared of the normal little retracement that maybe just simply return to a small little fair value gap on a lower time frame that they're not even aware of because they're regretting getting out early. And this might be something that some of you men are actually encountering too, and finding yourself being impulsive. Like, I want to get that too. This was enough. And it doesn't make a difference if you bailed out. You have to grow into understanding how to hold on to positions. And you're not going to do it right from the first trade. No one learns how to hold a trade to full target by being able to do it the first time. Like, it doesn't. That's like knowing it already, right? But unfortunately, our brains, as human beings, we like to convince ourselves that we can do it in a shorter span of time. We can do it faster than someone else, and that's the cup of tea right now. Everyone wants to learn ICT stuff quicker, shorter to the point. And then I guarantee you, you're not going to get the results you're looking for. You're going to have to go right back through all this stuff I've told you to do. And that's where your consistency is going to be found and derived from. But if you're finding yourself being impulsive and trying to go back in to get a little bit more of the move that you didn't hold on for, that's showing you a character flaw. You're being impulsive. You're not being content with enough. You're never going to see a $600,000 out of the box profitable trader in real money, not entrepreneur trade reports. Vinny, I'm sorry that I have to talk this way to you. I never wanted to do these things. And when we were talking privately, I told you all these things. I said, I'm not the person you're making me out to be. I invited you to have me and my wife share a dinner with you a year ago. And I told you I didn't have nothing to do with Shane Fields doing whatever the hell he did that day. And I thought that was a skit. I thought that was something that was cooked up by you. And then when that guy started talking all that shit, I was like, what the hell? That was nuts. So I'm anxious to see when you get to court with that whole show. And when you hear that man tell you I had absolutely nothing to do with that, I absolutely expect an apology, because you have a title on one of those videos, that very video, you're claiming that I'm a child molester. Do you have any idea the liability you have doing that? I want you to understand something, and I'm making this public again. I had nothing to do with that. Zero. And the things that you're spitting off on about, absolutely baseless and untrue. I would never do that. Never. The things that you've said about my family and my children are absolutely heinous and they're untrue. And you've done more damage to your image and your brand than I ever could do. You need to take stock in what it is you're doing. You might be making a little bit of money off of that revenue, but that shit's going to dry up. It's all going to dry up. And once it's on the internet, it never really goes away. And your children, as precious and beautiful as they are right now, they're going to grow up. And they're going to see these things that people are saying about you. And it's going to, it doesn't, you don't see it or feel it right now. But that shame is going to be very, very deep in its cuts. I did not one time have any intentions of doing anything to bring you any kind of harm or shame. That's never happened. That doesn't mean I wouldn't whip your fucking trading competitions. I know, and you fucking know it too. I would dismantle you. You did not join that Robbins Cup, and you know damn well that the shit you put out there supposedly by Joe Robbins or whatever the fuck it was to be, that guy did not fucking say I went out there and blew 4, 5, 6 accounts or whatever. That never happened. That never happened. All this stuff is bullshit. You need to take stock in what you're doing. I'm sure I'm certain that you're taking notes on what I'm teaching. I'm absolutely certain. Everything that you have been doing for the last 5 or 7 years has been inspired by me, whether you don't want to admit it publicly or not. You've done it a few times in your live streams where you say, oh yeah, the J-Hook, that's ICT's optimal trade entry. Yep. I even told you to code this stuff. If you can do it, I have users, well not users, but I have students that would use your shit if you could really do it and make it consistent. Take all that shit off your charts, all that bloated bullshit. You're getting there. It's slowly happening. But the things that you're building your stuff on is all bullshit. Incorporate the stuff. I'm not even saying market it with my stuff. You don't ever have to do that. You never have to come out in public and say it. You don't even have to say it to me in an email. You don't have to say nothing to me. Just do it. And I promise you, your shit will start working. And people that want that crutch of being able to go out there and try to do something if it's built on sound logic. Look at the thing my son's using right now. You trade all these little micro couple types of trades and over leverage them. Take the over leveraging away. Build it with one contract basis. Automated. It has a negative R. It doesn't matter. That consistently will drive transactions. And if you automate that, I guarantee you, people right now are sitting there thinking, ICT, right? If you can make that work, I would like to have something like that. And again, like I told you in the past, I don't want any royalties off of anything. Nothing. But you went on this vendetta, man, for nonsense because I didn't come out and defend you. I barely even knew you were. And it's so creepiest that you act like we've been friends since childhood and I backstabbed you. I have no idea who the fuck you were, man. But the shit that you're spewing is lies, man. It's fucking lies. Humble beginnings. How do you build equity from humble beginnings? You have learned who the f*** you are. And guess what? You're all f***ups. I was a f***up in the beginning. And guess what? You learned. Oh, I keep making the same mistake. How do I know I keep making this mistake? Because I'm journaling it. I'm recording what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, why I see this. Why do I think it's going to appear in the chart? Am I mad about something? Am I going into the marketplace on an emotional high? Everything feels good, and I feel like, well, I can't lose. Let me go in there. All those things or characteristics they're going to repeat, and you need to identify what they are because if they're hurting you, you need to go right to the root cause of what causes that. If you have that in your mind before you press the button, it's better for you not to take the trade in until you wrestle these demons into submission. Otherwise, you'll talk yourself into doing shit that you shouldn't be doing and talking yourself out of the things that you should be. Folks, I'm sorry, but they don't make good trading psychology books that's going to tell you this. But this is exactly what the you need to hear. You're listening to somebody that went through it. And I begged everybody that had more experience than me, please direct me to books, direct me to teachers, direct me to somebody that knows how to conquer all this stuff. I'm wrestling all these things and I can't figure it out. Well, just like I promised you, if you journal, you're making the fucking best trading book ever. And you're writing it yourself. And it's strange because it should never be shared with anybody. That makes it a treasure. That makes it an heirloom that you can pass on to your children. That was a time capsule every day of your life, what you were thinking that day, the decisions that you were making that day that helped frame the legacy that they're living off of now in the future. That's a unique experience that people can't get the same from a photograph. You can have photographs and old movies and 8mm films and all kinds of shit. But it's something different when you see the blueprints of what your future family's going to live off of. What you did. The engineering moments of how you put all this stuff together for you to make it work for you. How you framed every decision that you're making financially for you and your future and your family's future and the legacy wealth that you're creating. But you think it's something you shouldn't do. It's a time waster. Oh, it's this, that, and the other thing. I promise you, folks, I promise you this. Anybody worth their salt as a trader making serious money, they're journaling. And they did journal. Nobody swings by the seat of their pants and just says, well, I'm just going to wing it. There can be people that do that. Gamblers come into the casinos every year and take down big hauls. But are they doing it every year? Every month? No. They're just a flash in a pan. Just everything lined up for them right then. Do you want your trading to be like that? Do you want your success to be based on the basis of a lottery-like win? Some of you said, I don't give a hell it comes as long as I can get it, right? I'm just cut from a different cloth. I want to feel good that I